started to begin the
We
streaming.
should also.
You wanna check our audio, please? That'd be so epic.
Okay. Wait. Can you say something?
I can, but I won't.
Okay, we're good. Well, actually. Okay, yeah, we are good. I just wanted to check the level difference between the game and us, and it looks like we are the good.
We shall continue Owlboy with a new control method. Much like... I don't know.
Well, much like I already said, the Dark Souls experience.
Listen.
There's that. But also, okay, yes, I'm listening to you and your voice.
Listen here. What have you been up to?
Oh. Hold on, my boss texted me, so we will get into the thick of it very soon. Trust me. Hey, you didn't lock the closet last night, right? If you mean on Thursday,
What spin?
then no, I did not. Okay. Okay. Actually, let me pull up the Twitch app on my phone so I can read chat if it's necessary. Phanopoeia Gaming is live. Did you put this in Swans?
No, but you know what? I'm gonna do it right the fuck now.
You rat bastard.
If I can remember what website we stream on.
Am I not following Phanopoeia Gaming on my personal? It looks like I am not.
Okay.
Wait, yes I am, so why is it not? Oh, there it goes, okay. Okay.
Okay, so left click is this. Okay, alright, here we go.
Have you figured out a thing?
Yes, I pretty much have figured out what I need to do.
Okay, very
in order
nice.
to control the game.
The game. Capital T, capital G.
I've been looking forward to this.
Have you been looking forward?
I was just reading the dialogue of the character, bro. Don't take it personally.
Oh. Personally, I look backwards, back into time. Okay, shut the fuck up.
I reiterate, what have you been up to since
I want to read you a conversation that my brother and I had recently.
I'll allow it.
Thank you, baby.
I'm baby. Baby H Gamer. That's my name.
Babe Y Gamer. Okay, so I sent my brother the memoir to have him read.
Okay.
Okay. So he says, I read it. 2 times to be exact. I say, holy shit, truly my life is that interesting. He says some racist stuff that I'm not going to repeat on stream. I ask him, what is he on about? He quotes me saying, "Truly, my life is simply that interesting." I say, I would not agree with that, but I guess that means you thought it was well written, so thanks. He says, I wouldn't say I'm the best person for to critique or determining if something is well written, but
that'd be me.
Do what?
That'd be me.
Oh yes, that would be you.
Objectively, continue.
Jesus Christ. Screech160 says, "Hey Phano, hey Tyler." Hello, Screech.
What's up, Screech? It's like that one time on Saved by the Bell when like Screech.
I'm pretty sure that actually is a reference to that. Going on with the conversation, he says, "But I am definitely interested in the subject, so it was a memoir?" I say, yes, quote, "a historical account or biography written from personal knowledge or special sources," end quote. Or like an autobiographical account, yes. Rajab says, "I see, this might seem rude." I say, "Go for it." He says, "But what was the purpose of writing this? Just to write a memoir or something else?" I say, there wasn't one other than I felt like I needed to write something. I had wanted to do it for a while, and a prompt from one of the classes I'm in finally tipped me off. He says, I see. Then he quotes parts of it and says that they go over his head. So the parts that he quotes are the "I am Buddha's apathy," "I'm the God King of mental illness," "I'm the great repository of psychoanalytical intelligence," and then there were 3, "an instrument of torture, one of science," and then the other part he quoted was, "The difference between art and decoration is intense. This brazen bull is on the inside of my skull." And I respond with, "The first thing you copy and pasted is a reference to Fight Club. The second thing you copy and pasted is a reference to Agi. The difference between art and decoration is intense specifically is about my relationship with money that is kind of a subversive narrative throughout the memoir." So basically I'm saying that the thoughts outlined in the memoir are torturous. He says, "Thank." I say, "Yup." He asks, "Why did you reference?" I promise this is going somewhere, by the way.
Yup.
Yup. He says, "Why did you reference Fight Club in Agi?" I said, "I reference Agi in nearly all of my art because I feel like their narrative is deftly woven into my own persona, and I referenced Fight Club because we were reading it in one of my classes, and a reading response prompt is what inspired the memoir." He says, "I see. The relationship with money you're talking about is where mom and dad buy us things?" I say, "Yes." He says, "I see." I say, "Yeah, I don't know what to say about that." He says, "Lop." I say, "I could explain it, but He says, "Yeah, I mean, I understand it kind of ellipses. It's kind of cliche how it is." I say, "I mean, the point that I was trying to get at was," he says, "I don't mean that your writing is cliche. I meant that mom and dad buying things for you or me is a bit cliche." And now we are in the thick of it. I say, "They bought us shit to make us feel like they loved us, and so I was ill-prepared to have an actual relationship with someone that I actually cared about, so now in some sort of bullshit cycle, I use money as a way to get people to like me. Yeah, that is a bit cliche, LMFAO." He says, "Just buying things to fulfill some parental figure expectation. It felt soulless." In capital letters, I say yes. He says, "Was what I typed before you sent that." I say, "That was exactly what it felt like. Christmas, birthdays, Easter, whatever the fuck else." He says, "I feel they never actually knew us." I say, "There was no real, genuine, authentic meaning behind it. It was just a way to keep us quote-unquote tame. Also, yeah, I feel like they never even tried with that." He says, "Yeah, I think that hurts the most. I don't think I know them either." I say, "I don't think they even know each other. Before we moved into the house, I told them that they should divorce." He says, "LMAO, yeah, ellipses." I say I had been wanting to say that for years. He says, I mean, I think part of getting old is just being able to be comfortable with someone, so I can see why they wouldn't divorce, but in some ways it does feel empty. I say, I mean, mom needs dad's money to survive, so I can see why she wouldn't want to, but it feels totally vapid. He says, yeah, unfortunately, not an uncommon thing, I'd say. Blah, blah, blah. I say, what did you think of all the stuff I said, though? He says, well, something that jumped out to me that I wanted to tell you was when you were doing the group therapy and you asked if they actually feel empathy and they looked at you like a quote-unquote freak, I wanted to tell you, fuck those normie faggots.
Hey, it's sick.
You think those normie fucking retards understand this shit besides fucking football? I say LMFAO in capital letters. I was expecting you to think that I'm a freak as well, so that's cool. He says, no, I don't think you are a freak. You're weird. I'm also weird. I don't know, ellipses. I say, I mean, yeah. He says, well, not quote-unquote quote normal, I would say, but who gives a shit about that? I then say, a lot of people think that I'm a freak, creep, a sociopath, etc. He says, fuck being normal. I say, which I'm fine with, I was just curious about what you thought. He says, yeah, I don't know, people are just too fucking judgmental. I say, true. He says, which I'm not an exception either. I say, people acting like they know shit about mental illness or psychology or shit like that. Cringe. He says, oh yeah, ellipses, I mean, people acting like they know shit about anything is kind of cringe, but armchair psychologists are the fucking worst. Makes them feel another layer of being deep. Eat shit. I say, people see the lack of empathy thing and immediately jump to calling me a sociopath used to irritate the shit out of me. He says, yeah, they probably thought they were seen as smart, quote-unquote, diagnosing you like that. I say, most psychoanalysis, bro. He says, but unironically, sarcastically, obviously. Then he says, lop, I don't know. I mean, people are faggots, but you already know that. But is there anything in particular you wanted my thoughts on? I say, yeah. I say, I mean, just what you thought of the whole thing, how accurate was my recount of our childhood compared to what you remember of it? Was I exaggerating anything, or was I pretty true to what happened? He says, my memory's kind of foggy, but let me reread. Also, feel free if you want to list the other things you didn't mention in the childhood portion. Blah, blah, blah. I basically quote the whole paragraph that was just me saying, which was the thing with the counselor that I wanted to tell her. I basically quoted that, but I'll reread it again in case people don't know what it is. I was sent the message that I could not trust my parents to respect my physical and emotional boundaries, which were often violated in various ways. I did not feel safe with my family physically and emotionally. I was often sent the message over and over again that I was not entitled to have my own individual feelings and experiences, and that I should feel exactly as my parents told me to. I often felt trapped in this situation and learned to dissociate from the situations and my feelings in order to cope by emotionally escaping the experience. I often felt that my emotions and the emotions of others were extremely scary and overwhelming, and learned to avoid them if at all possible. I learned that intimacy would likely lead to me being intruded on or violated in some way, or to being hurt further. I felt that I had no control over the situation or means to protect myself from it, so I basically copied that. Then I say, I feel like this says it all. I mean, they still do a lot of this, honestly. He says, I don't think I remember her telling me she was gonna kill me until high school. I say, I remember one of her favorite threats was that she would cut off my head. He says, oh, ellipses, yeah, that rings a bell. I say, based, ethic abuse, unironically. He says, yeah, I don't think I remember when you said Christopher Allen died, when Dad came home and started yelling. I say, I remember that moment extremely vividly. He asks, could I elaborate? I says, I mean, do you remember how he would go off on business trips and it would be hell with Mom while he was gone, and then he'd come back and tell her to stop yelling at us? He says, there were times he would defend us. I do remember that, ye. I say, yes. Then one of the times he came back, he didn't defend us. Shit changed. In retrospect, now he was probably sick of having to come back to Mom screaming at us and us running up to him looking for comfort and clutching at his leg every single time. But I don't know, when he didn't comfort us that one time, I felt a physical change inside my body. Like I just died in that moment, but my body was forced to keep on operating. I don't know if I'm doing a good job of explaining. He says, I'm trying my best to remember that specific time, but I can't. I think you're doing a good enough job. I say, I don't blame you for not remembering. For some reason, my brain chemistry chose to fuck itself in that moment, but I imagine for you it was just another shitty night. Hard to remember because it was just a constant stream of shitty nights. He says, yeah, ellipses. I say, lawful. He says, it's hard for me to analyze myself, so it's also kind of hard to analyze the consequences of the abuse. So I'm sorry if it's difficult to use me as a reference on these things. I say, by quote-unquote analyze yourself, you mean just remembering what happened, or... Also, it's totally cool, and all honestly, I thought you would have said something like, it wasn't really that bad, was it? I wanted to have this talk with you for years, but was always too scared to start it. He says, I remember bits and pieces, and each night generally being hellish, kind of like a haziness or fever dream-esque, but also just personally, just having a hard time with analyzing myself or just being too lazy to. In a way, I want to say it wasn't that bad, but that's probably coping. Obviously, it was damaging. I say that is fair. He says, but yeah, when Dad was gone, it was especially bad. I say, I don't want to be the psychoanalysis bro person we were talking about earlier, but there is a thing called dissociative amnesia where your brain makes you forget traumatic shit as a way to cope, and that may or may not be happening here. I thought I had dissociative amnesia for a long time. He says, yeah, I kinda did/do too. I ask, you think you have it, or... He says, just a lot to unpackage. I don't know if I do or not. All I know is that it's not a lot of vivid memories from that time. I say, I've read before that if schizoids hadn't learned to adapt by becoming schizoid, then they would have developed complex PTSD. So I think it's not outside the range of possibility for you to do/have something similar. Yeah, that's fair. He says, I wouldn't at all be surprised if I did have something similar. I think I've had some share of dissociating, but it's hard to say really. I mean, I'd say you and I are pretty similar people, all things considered. I say, I agree with that, yeah. I don't know how you feel about getting psych testing or therapy or any of that shit, but I took advantage of free mental health care during the military while I had it, and I don't regret it. I'm not saying at all you need therapy or anything like that, but if it's something you pursue, I would be extremely interested in the results. He says, I've kind of wanted to go to therapy, also interested in any diagnosis. I'm not sure how I feel about actually going. It's definitely something I should think about more. I say perhaps. One-on-one is extremely worthwhile in my opinion. Is there a stigma about people who utilize the mental health facility on your base? He says, I think there would be, yeah. Definitely a suck-it-up kind of place. I'm sure there'd be no problem going, but I'd probably get looked down upon. I say fucking lame. Same thing at Goodfellow, which if you don't know is the military base I was stationed at. Yeah. He says, yeah, probably across all military. I say, wouldn't be surprised. He says, if I decide I really wanted to and would do it, it wouldn't stop me, however. Before deciding to go to therapy, I feel like I need to understand myself better. I don't know. I say my whole reason for going to therapy to begin with was so that I could understand myself. I would still be in therapy right now if I could afford it. Also, hello, Sir Breadsticks. Thanks for being here. He says, that would be the end goal. If I walked in now, I feel like I wouldn't even say lol. I say, good point. For me, it started off with talking about depression and anxiety for a few months, and then shit took a left turn when I brought up lack of empathy and psych testing seemingly out of nowhere. But maybe you could rattle off some shit you've said during this conversation and then go from there. He says, probably wouldn't be a bad start. I know I'll need to analyze myself before I walk in, that's for sure. I say, fair, become the Ubermensch. He says, the term Ubermensch was used frequently by Hitler and the Nazi regime to describe their idea of a biologically superior Aryan or Germanic master race. Based? I said, what the actual fuck, Lamau? I didn't know that. I then quote, the meaning... Okay, Brett. I'm reading aloud a actual conversation that I had with my brother. I say, basically it's about becoming who you truly are and are meant to be. He said that'd be ideal if only it were that easy. I say, yeah, I try to be authentic in everything I do now, that true to self, but it's challenging. He says being authentic definitely takes courage. It would 100% be worth it. Real recognize real. How do you know when you're being authentic or not? Oh, baby. I say, great question. For me, being honest is a huge part of it, since I used to be a massive liar when I was younger. I think authenticity is just doing whatever you want to do all the time, being genuine and real to yourself. I think you can tell, or at least should be able to tell, when you're doing something that feels genuine to you. That's kind of a lot of fancy talk, but it's what I am cursed to always be thinking about, lol. Example, I talk a lot about how social media and showing myself doesn't feel authentic or genuine to me. I could go on a sprawling ramble about those things, but I think the big thing is that I just know that deep down it doesn't feel right to engage in either of those things. He says, that makes sense. I definitely agree. I say, I hope there was some sort of wisdom in that. Nice, I'm glad you do. He says there was wisdom in that for sure. Might seem odd to ask, but do you think you have OCD? When you said cursed, it made me wonder. I say, oh, no, I don't think so. That was more of a joke than anything. I just think about authenticity and what it would be like to truly be myself more than I should probably. I think the schizoid diagnosis is spot on, and it's extremely rare to have any sort of comorbid diagnosis with it. I mean, it's already extremely rare to begin with, but having a comorbid diagnosis isn't unheard of. I think schizoid plus ADD is the most common comorbid diagnosis I've seen. Yes, I am not sick, I'm fine. Thank you for asking, though. He says, I see. I ask because I know people with OCD can have obsessive thoughts in a way like that. Do you believe the ADD was a misdiagnosis? Obviously, there's an over-diagnosis of ADD/ADHD in society. I say, for sure. Yeah, like I said in the memoir thing, I think it was total fucking bullshit, complete misdiagnosis. I used to zone out all the fucking time and still do a lot, but I think that has more to do with stress than any sort of innate inability to pay attention to things. Meaning, I think if my brain hadn't been royally fucked, I'd be able to pay attention to things just fine. He says, I see. I think I used to believe I had ADD, but I'm sure it's more dissociative in a way, like you say, like the zoning out. I say, for sure, do you think you dissociate? He says, There have been times I'm sure I did. Nothing too recent. It could have just been acute symptoms. I say, maybe, yeah. Like a more in-the-moment kind of thing. He says, I'd say so, yeah. But generally at work or class, I'll often give a blank stare and zone out. Could be, who knows, shrug. I say, Keck. In general, I think it's safe to say that if you're zoning out from stress, it's dissociation, but I'm not too knowledgeable about it, honestly. I ain't no medical professional, you dig? He says, yeah, trying to steer away from self-diagnosis. I say, good idea, don't make the same mistake I made, LMFAO. Well, I guess self-diagnosing was what got me diagnosed, so he says, what did you think you had? I say, originally I thought I had ASPD because of the lack of emotion / empathy, so sociopath / psychopath type shit. Obviously not psycho, but yeah. No, truly, I am a learned man. He says, I'm sure being diagnosed schizoid was relieving. I say, it was extremely relieving, yes. Imagine all your life knowing that something was wrong with you in comparison to other quote-unquote normal people, and finally, 22 years in, you learn what it is. It was big epic. He says, that is beautiful, unironically. And that's pretty much the end of the conversation.
That was pretty interesting, I will say. Considering that's I haven't had a chance to watch your streams that you've done with your brother, so I don't know what kind of...
Oh, they're not at all like that.
Okay, well, I don't know what kind of conversation you have, but I have very limited interaction with them besides that, so it's kind of revealing in some ways.
Yes, it is revealing. I wanted you to learn more about my childhood, and so I guess you have done that now.
Well, I mean, there is something to be said for when you have siblings or whatever, and they can vouch for the veracity of the way you perceived everything. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. What has happened in the story? We'll talk more about what we've been up to, obviously, but I want to know what I've missed in the story because I'm kind of invested at this point.
So we came to it was like a library or like a castle or a mansion or something, and
right.
the hooded owl dude, Solus or whatever, he was like, yeah, I'm gonna use the relics. I can't explain, but please just leave, and then he runs away. So we've been following him up. Now there were some books that Alphonse was able to read that kind of give a little bit of the backstory, where apparently the world is on some sort of cycle, and they use the term the loop to refer to it. Okay. So the owls master the elements, and they eventually tried to make something called the hex to stop whatever the fuck the loop is, right. when it resets the world or whatever the fuck it does, and it didn't work. But now they tried to do it again, in an improved form, but we don't know what the results of that necessarily were. So now we're just chasing after him, it's called the floating tower. It's the most isolated secret location of the
holy
house or whatever.
Holy hecking freaking shitting.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what's happening.
Okay. Well, let's how about you go on about what you've been up to for a bit before I get into some other things.
Well, I've mentioned seasonal depression before, right, as a concept.
Yes.
I'm feeling pretty good now. The weather's nice. I worked most of last week, but now I have a fair bit of time off. Now we're getting to the story, but so I'm feeling good about a lot of things. I spent a couple hours yesterday just like sitting outside, like with a beer, reading. Ordered a burrito from across town.
One sec, my parents knocking on the door.
Welcome back, Sir Bread.
Okay, I'm back.
Soulless is not interested in what we have to say. I'm using the relics.
Wait, so his name is literally Soulless?
Soulless, like S-O-L-U-S.
Oh, okay. So Soulless.
Yeah.
Not Soulless.
Not soulless, yeah, I was overemphasizing that.
I think the game wants you to interrupt him with Alphonse.
Oh shit.
You know, I feel like this guy has good intentions.
Yeah, he knows something.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Do this shit, what happened?
Oh well. Yeah, you're finna get fucked, bro. You think you can beat an owl baby with the 3 relics? No, I don't think so, bucko. My parents are going on a walk, so it's the perfect time to talk about things.
Oh god, what the fuck? Not really sure what's happening.
The actual fuck.
Anyway, so, I've had a very nicely, productive few days.
Well, yeah, so you said that you were seasonal depression, you're getting over it.
It's waning for sure.
Okay, very nice, I'm glad. You sat outside with a book.
I'm reading an interesting book right now called, it's about writing, it's a writing book. And it's called How to Write Short, and it's pretty much what the title says. But there's some interesting comments and examples of like very concise and tightly composed writing.
Okay, I see. Have you read Stephen King's
On Writing?
On Writing?
No,
yeah.
I have not actually.
You haven't. Okay,
I used to be a huge Stephen King fan back when, like when I was in middle school and like beginning of high school.
I'm not a Stephen King fan. Based on what I read for my creative writing class, I think he's full of shit. well, so I generally agreed that adverbs that you want to avoid them. I agree with his statement on that, but like he'll just say something stupid as fuck sometimes, like about how he doesn't believe that like he'll just write 2 characters and he has no idea what they're gonna do. Like that's just complete horseshit and just like completely. That just goes against what I feel like writing is. Like if you read Ernest Hemingway, then everything seems very deliberate.
Yeah.
Like there's there's a short story from Hemingway about the fuck.
I think you can like leave and come back.
Oh, okay. So there's a short story from Hemingway about how like this guy is like hunting in Africa or some shit.
Yeah.
And like he's with his wife.
Yes.
Have you read this one?
You know, I actually haven't, but there's a part in one of the later arcs of Cerebus that revolves heavily around this story. So, and Ernest Hemingway in general basically becomes a fucking character.
Yeah, like if you read that story, then it's very like you can tell just how much Hemingway thought about like every single minute detail that went into creating that story.
Yeah.
So when Stephen King says that he just writes, that he just thinks of like some character's appearance and then like allows them to just do what they're gonna do. I don't know, that's just like fucking horse shit to me.
Well, it's not that I necessarily disagree with you. I wouldn't say that he's full of shit, because I'm sure that way of writing works for him. It's just not necessarily something that like is valuable to me as advice. You know what I mean? Or like that I value in reading what he writes. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, just like...
I mean, if that's how he wants to write books, I mean, that's fine with me, I guess.
I don't understand how that can be a way to write books.
Well, I mean, if you read his prose, like in his fiction anyway, it's like he's more...
I've never read Stephen King.
Okay, well, he's more of a creative than he is a writer, if that makes sense. He's not a necessarily good, like, writer.
Yeah, right.
He, like, creates, you know, scenarios and situations that, like, people find interesting enough where they, like, buy the book and, you know, they're scared by it or whatever, if it's a horror book, but it's not like... It's not like I could pick any great quotation out of his writing that, like, really... is something beautiful to read, right? So,
yes, but the idea of not thinking at all about what your characters are gonna do, well, seems like like a fucking lie to me.
Well, it's more. I mean, it's from what I understand, he comes up with like.
Maybe I'm interpreting what he's saying wrong, incorrectly. You know. That might be it, but I don't know.
From what I understand, he sort of... He will come up with the premise of the story and then the character. I don't know how you dodge that. Oh, I guess you gotta use the twig. That's right. So it can make you, like, invulnerable.
Wait.
Sorry, but
well, hold on. I want to read what Sir Breadstick says. He says, King seems deranged, but great. Sometimes you don't think. Like the story is pre-made and he doesn't know it.
I think it's more along the lines that there's some part of the actual act of sitting down, like, with the... Oh, God. With, like...
So that is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Like, he knows enough about the characters to start writing, and then he kind of just lets the process carry him along. Which
maybe that's what he means.
That's what he does. I mean, I can tell you, just based on interviews with him and, like, reading his books, that's obvious. Like he's notably terrible at endings, right? That's one of his... worst qualities as an author is his ability to wrap up a story, because he sort of like gets to where, you know, the end of the plot, and he's like, Oh shit.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What's going on? I see.
I don't know if what I've said made sense. So that's kind of how I.
No, it made a lot of sense.
But like I said,
it made way more fucking sense than him saying that on writing. So.
But like I said, that advice can be inspiring or useful, I guess, if you're the type of person that like feels like you have to like fucking outline every single paragraph that you want to write before you ever write it or some shit like that. You know what I mean? But
right.
It's also, I don't want to call it anti-intellectual. That's probably too harsh.
But it is.
But it enables people to be very thoughtless about the way they write, which I'm not in favor of.
Yeah. Right.
Obviously, people can write however they fucking want to write, but
take the Hemingway approach.
I think people's writing is more interesting when they consider what they're saying and how to say it.
Yes. Anyway. So what have you been up to?
So I've actually so far today had a pretty good writing day.
Really?
The Tony Hawk video. Well, I've shared a good chunk of it with you. But
yes. So in between last stream and now, you showed me you showed me parts 1 through 3 of the Tony Hawk.
This is correct.
Yes.
And it's looking like they're going to be the 3 most. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of editing to be done, so I'm not sure what the final thing is going to look like necessarily. But it's right. I'm almost to that editing process now. Very close.
Okay, awesome.
Oh fuck.
Wait. You just blew the tornado out.
Yeah, I guess. That's what I was confused about.
Breadstick says, try reading Wattpad. It fucking sucks. Too many cliches. Is Wattpad something that King has written?
No, it's a website where people post their. I think it's generally just fiction.
Oh, okay, I see.
It's like anyone could just post anything.
Right.
So of course it's like the fucking accumulation of like the dregs of people who can't get their writing published anywhere else, or they don't want to put the energy into it. Not to say that there's not good writing on there, but I haven't found any.
So many edgy teens, says Sir Breadsticks. So it's like DeviantArt, but for writing.
Sure, that's a fair comparison. I mean, I'm glad it exists so people can post their shit there. But.
Right. Nutty. Too many. Oh, I see. Hey Tyler.
Yeah.
Oh wait. Hey Breadsticks. You know. Well, actually, I doubt you would be interested in doing this. I would never do this with you unless it was for money. So never mind. Pretend I didn't say anything. But DeviantArt has some quality stuff. Ooh.
Tails Gets Trolled was originally posted on DeviantArt, so...
Really? DeviantArt does have some great stuff. But, I've found an artist to collaborate with that does not, advertise herself on that site, so... I mean, themselves. My bad. I apologize. Holy shit. You just clonked him, bro.
Clonked.
Epic clonking. What do I want, though? Seriously? Well, I was just gonna say, that Tyler and I could do the thing that, you have been wanting Destin, Grace, and I to do. But there's no fucking way that I would have Tyler do that unless he's getting paid.
I have no idea what you're even referring to.
So he wants us to read a furry visual novel, and like voice act it.
Indeed.
Yeah, but there's no way I would put that up on this channel. Unless we're getting paid to do it. Truly, you can buy my creative work. No way he would do that. I would fucking die from laughing so hard. Well, hey, pay us. Pay us. Pay us, bro, and we'll do it. Maybe. Probably not. Because this is my authentic, genuine art. And I will not allow it to be tainted. Bro, just have some fun. We're having fun.
I'm really enjoying this game. I'm a fan.
We're all about
doing what I want constantly.
Yes. You just want us to have a fun time. Well, I think we have a good time on this show.
Never better. Truly.
I am having a good time with my best friend Tyler.
Fun receptors active. Holy shit.
Oh my god. Okay, so what have you been up to though? I feel like we've been dodging that question.
Have we?
Yes. Well, I read the thing with my brother. Who fucking knows what you talk about?
Some stupid fucking bullshit.
I'd rather you and the others chill through the game. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. We're chilling. I was joking. I think Tyler and I do have a really good time on this show. Obviously, that's why we fucking do it.
What the fuck is happening? Is this Undertale?
Section. Yeah, this is Undertale-ish. Okay, so should I talk about the thing?
Sure.
Or
what thing?
Actually, what? You can tell where he's gonna fly with the...
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, but,
what the fuck?
Whiskey time! What did you get done?
Oh, well, let me put it this way. Basically, just need to buy props and alcohol and make the set and film.
Okay,
at this point.
I see.
So the most time-consuming work is all done.
Very nice.
The work that's hard on my wallet, and actually results in good, amazing, epic videos, is coming soon.
Yeah, you just murdered that man.
Although, ironically, due to the fact that we're getting more work done now with this magical coronavirus global pandemic situation, it's also going to take a lot longer for our stupid wigs and costumes to come in from fucking Amazon.
Lol.
But not enough to, like, tip it back to being a long time before the videos start coming up.
Sorry, I'm reading the dialogue.
Yeah, me too. Please explain. The great shame of the owls. Oh shit.
The hex and the anti-hex. Man, I got a shit.
Well, I don't think I can pause it.
God damn it.
Owl technology.
And owl accessories.
The discovery.
Chaos.
The loop.
What is the loop?
An infinity symbol is the loop. And the loop.
Infinity upon infinity upon infinity. Much like a multiverse.
Did it work?
Did it work?
Damn. Yeah, that's how the fucking world split, yeah, into floating islands.
Wow. That seems rather coincident. The islands are still rising.
Truly, what will happen?
You know, the tear in his eye.
The tear.
That's actually really cool how they have like the darker pixel moving horizontally, so it makes him look like he's teary.
Yeah.
That's really fucking cool.
Oh shit.
Money. Is that the pirates? Owl baby.
Will Molstrom get the relics and become the final boss?
Who knows? Find out next time on Owl Baby. Ready?
That's just looking rough down there, boys.
My relics. Yo, you got fucked.
Oh, classic.
Lol. Truly, artificial dialogue is created.
Oh shit.
I mean, not artificial dialogue. What the fuck am I talking about?
And thus, artificial conflict is generated.
Yes, yes, that's the reference I was making, or trying to make.
He's gonna turn into like supersonic Otis. Damn.
Lol. Erg.
Bounced him like a ball.
I don't understand. Ever seen Doctor Sleep? You loved it. No, I have no...
Yeah,
it's a part 2 of The Shining?
It's a sequel to The Shining, yeah.
I have not, Do you think the game is gonna end right now?
Not right this minute, no.
Oh, I see.
I don't think so. I mean, maybe.
Oh no, you are going to die.
He flaps. Fatigued.
Flaps, flies, wings. Lol.
Oh yeah.
Ready? Oh. Kamikaze.
Not Otis.
Is he the real Owlboy?
Oh boy. Swag.
Yo, he just got vaporized.
Yeah, we get it, you vape.
Don't tell my mom, okay?
I already sent her a carrier pigeon.
Ah, yes. The bench where your maester was.
My maester. My mean old maester.
The abuser man.
Is this a flashback? I'm so lucky.
This is a blasting from the pasting.
That would be so fun. Youngin?
I'm gonna shit. Wait. Yo, Cobalt Bro, did you like The Shining? I thought The Shining...
You thought The Shining was what?
I thought it was okay. My favorite part was when she looked at the script, and it was just like the same thing written over and over again.
Yes, that was a moment.
Oops, you meant Dr. Sleep. I have not seen Dr. Sleep. I didn't even know a sequel to The Shining existed.
Very nice.
Now I will shit.
Very nice tree. Would you like me to wait? Because I feel like the game's about to end.
Yes, please wait. I must see.
Okay. Just chilling here under the big tree. White as a ghost. Is he dead, or now is he just becoming alive? It's a real question, isn't it? Truly, all the owls were boys, I think. Well, I hope the surely real afterlife has a nice little musical piece that's as pleasant as this one. That's really all we can ask for. Ah, yes.
If only you could see the wicked faces I was making, much like a contortionist, as I was dropping that deuce.
I'll pass.
Okay. This is game over. Owlboy dead. No, no, you silly, foolish boy idiot. The indie developers would never end a game on a sad note.
It's my maester.
Yes.
Hello, maester. Well, soon to be maester. What's up? What's up?
Hey, what's up, baby? Oh.
You're not dreaming. Visions of the past. Yes, several.
One or two. Oh!
The ocean is so wet.
So Otis died.
But what the fuck is the loop? even if you get a game over. Yeah, you a real prick, though. Back in that first stream.
What the fuck are you talking about? He never believed in us. Well, he did believe in us at the end. But he did not always believe in us. That's bullshit. Is this the end of the gaming?
Holy mo. Truly a game.
Wow. That was a short stream. Do you want to do something else?
I might have to bust out the Super Meat Boy.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby. The meatification of my dreams.
All dreams become meat.
What are dreams
so say
if they cannot be ground up?
So saith the book.
Into little sausages. The Owlboy Orchestra. I like this piano thing.
Universally speaking.
Universally speaking.
Kakehashi. Universally speaking. Explocution. Mick Lauer with his standout performance as Molstrom's laugh.
Is that really what it said?
No, it just said voice of Molstrom, special thanks.
Oh. And literally the only thing he ever had was a laugh, so.
Yeah, I believe so.
That's fucking epic.
Truly. Overlooking the water.
Oh my god.
The grass, the leaves, rustling.
Will Owlbaby come? Yes. Will Owlbaby fall in the waiter?
Is that an owl baby in the background there?
I believe so. That wasn't a very conclusive ending.
Owlboy to win!
Was that it?
Seems like.
How did you... Oh, no. I guess we should talk about...
Owl baby.
Yes.
I dig it. It's pretty comfy.
Is that so?
There's a couple frustrating parts gameplay-wise, but I like the aesthetic. The music was pretty pleasant, if not that memorable.
The aesthetic was good. What does continue do?
That just loads the...
Oh, okay. Tragic. I like the steampunk aesthetic. I thought the music was generic. A lot of the dialogue was contrived, but I got invested towards the end there. That's all my thoughts, really.
Yeah, it works. I like it. It's pleasant.
Well... How long did this take to make again? Like, what, 12 years? 10 years?
I think it was actually 9.
9 years.
It took it, and it was mainly a small group of developers, I think. Like after their
Why do you think this took so long?
Well, I think a small group of people made it.
Well, yeah.
Like on their fucking, not their, in their free time.
Oh. Okay.
I would imagine. Let me see. Development began in 2007.
Interesting. And when did it come out? Like 2018?
So 2016.
Oh, right.
Said, this is from Wikipedia. The inspiration for Owlboy came from several sources, most involving Anderson, who is, I guess, the director and lead designer.
Oh, I see.
Anderson's penchant for Nintendo games, the basic mechanics were inspired by the Super Mario Bros. 3 Tanuki suit with reverse mechanics. Similarly, Anderson also became interested in rumors of a new game in the Kid Icarus series, wondering how the flying mechanics of those games would translate to 3D. And dismayed, Anderson realized that he felt a 2D design for his game would work better. Finally, Anderson was inspired by a then upcoming Wii and felt that it provided a great opportunity to create an old school game. Beginning development in 2007, the game spent the better part of a decade in development. The team worried about the expectation of fans and thus started over several times. Anderson also had to deal with suffering from depression, which he had had since childhood. It was
tragic.
Released on PC, Switch in 2018. Yeah. Received positive
Incredible. Reviews. Okay.
Sold 100,000 copies. Very nice.
On the release day, it sold.
No, like it has sold 100,000 copies, I guess.
Oh, okay.
At least.
I see. Incredible.
All right. Well, we'll be back in a minute after I get the new stream set up.
Yes, we will end this stream, right?
Yes.
So we can. Okay. Very nice.